Welcome to this video, which shows how to run an example job on your Alces flight compute cluster. Before we get started, you'll need to have a cluster launched on AWS and have SSH access to that environment. So here we're going to look at running an example job on our Alces flight compute cluster. It's going to be a job using the LandSat utility, using the data that's stored on AWS S3. Before I start the job, I need to prepare the cluster for this particular workload. Now, I could have enabled all of these packages as part of the deployment of the cluster using the custom flight buckets. Instead, we're going to run through them on the command line so you can see the processes that I go through. So firstly, we need to install the LandSat utility itself. So I'm going to do Alces gridware list. Utility is called LandSat util. There it is. So I'm going to do Alces gridware install apps LandSat util. There's only one version, so I can leave that version number on. Now, LandSat util has a huge number of dependencies, so we're going to ask the system to import and install each of those in turn. We're using an auto-scaling cluster here, so all of these packages are from main. That means when we run our job, we'll be able to run that across all of the compute nodes and have the cluster scale automatically. We'll just leave this a few seconds to install all of our dependencies. So now we have the LandSat utility installed. I'm also going to install the GIMP graphical viewer so we can take a look at the things we download as we do it. So I'm going to use sudo yum install GIMP. That will install the graphical viewer on the login node for the cluster, along with some dependencies for the system. Now we have GIMP installed, I'm going to enable and configure my S3 storage area. So Alces storage enable S3, and Alces storage configure my S3. I'm going to enter my user access key and my secret key. And I'm going to tell the system to use that area by default. Now, I've prepared a job script for this job. Let's take a look at it now. It's this one here. What this job script does is the following. Firstly, we set an output file location for our particular job. We then tell the scheduler to run this job as a task job, starting at task number 1 and finishing at task number 360. The compute nodes then load the module for the LandSat utility, and we use the grid scheduler task ID as the longitude that we're currently searching. We're looking here at Tropic of Cancer, which is 23.5 degrees north, so we use the LandSat utility to search that latitude and the longitude from our job scheduler. So what this will do, we'll get 1 to 360 all the way around the world at that particular latitude. We're looking for a cloud coverage of less than 2, and LandSat utility will return the most recent version of that particular image. We then get the scene ID, and we run another LandSat command to download that scene ID. We grab the file name for that, and then we process that file and upload it to our S3 repository using the Alces storage put command. Finally, we print a message telling the user where the file name is that we've uploaded to our bucket. Once we're ready, we can use the qsub command to launch that job. The scheduler will report our unique grid engine job ID, number 4, and our task ID 1 to 360. Using the qsub command, we can take a look at the system and we can see a bunch of our jobs are already running. We currently have 8 compute nodes with 36 cores on each, so the system will be launching 8 by 36 jobs. I can also use a graphical desktop session to view the data that's been provided by the LandSat utility. In the Applications menu, select the 'Graphical' menu and then the GNU Image Management Program. Once GIMP has started, use the File menu. I can go to my file system, the LandSat area, and let's look at one of the preview files. Here's some of the preview data that my LandSat job has generated and saved into my S3 bucket. We can use the command Alces storage ls to look for our bucket and grep for LandSat. There's the new bucket that's been created. So I can use the command Alces storage ls and then my bucket ID to view the data files that have been identified. Each one of those represents a different longitude for the particular latitude Tropic of Cancer that I'm looking at. Finally, I can use the qstat command. All my jobs have finished, so it's time to shut down my cluster. All the data that's been created for my job has been safely uploaded to my Amazon S3 data area. That concludes this video. Please watch the other videos in the series for more information about using your cluster and running applications through the job scheduler. To find documentation online, just go to our website, alces-flight.com. Click on the documentation link. That will give you all the printed documentation for using the system.